Louisville cornerback, accomplished cornerback available. Have you gotten a chance?
Go get him, Eric. I love all our corners, don't get me wrong, but go get him, Eric.
Wow, a little foreshadowing there. Breaking news to start NFL Live. Lamar's request on Tuesday for his GM to sign Jaire Alexander has officially come to fruition. The Ravens put pen to paper with the free agent cornerback, and the first guy to meet Alexander as he entered the building, of course, Lamar Jackson, his former teammate. Adam, what more can you tell us about how this deal came together?
Well, Laura, despite the fact that Lamar Jackson made a personal plea to his general manager, Eric DeCosta, to go sign Jaire Alexander yesterday, the truth of the matter is they had been talking throughout the offseason, and since Green Bay released Jaire Alexander, Baltimore always was in square contention to sign him. And even though the Ravens couldn't offer as much money as other teams such as the Carolina Panthers, they could offer Jaire the chance to be reunited with his college teammate, Lamar Jackson. And in the end, that made the difference, along with the one-year deal that allows him to step into a defense that's loaded, a secondary that's loaded. He can thrive there if he stays healthy, and then he would become a free agent after the season, as we get alerts here.
You got an ESPN alert. Was that your own alert
Probably.
right there that came through? It very well could have been.
Yes, NFL Live is now on the air. Alert.
We need those alerts out there. All right, the Ravens secondary struggled last season. On passes 15-plus yards downfield, they allowed the fourth highest QBR and ranked bottom 10 in completion percentage and passing touchdowns allowed. Last season, Jaire Alexander defended a pass on 23% of his targets as nearest defender. That was the seventh highest rate among players who were targeted at least 30 times. Now, what a way to start the show. We just heard from Schefter. He's here. Field Yates is in the house. And we got Louis Riddick with us for the hour as well. Field, I'll start with you. Was cornerback a position of need in Baltimore? You heard Schefter referencing he's joining a team that's pretty stacked across the board.
Yeah, not a frontline need in terms of starting a game tomorrow, needing him on the field for the very first snap, Laura, but this is a team that last year struggled to defend the pass, as you noted. And Jaire Alexander, the best part of this deal, in my opinion, is the fact that it is a one-year deal. This is a motivated player who, over the past 4 seasons, has been just as likely to be on the field as he is off the field. So Jaire Alexander has a chance to play for a team that has Super Bowl aspirations, does not need to be a starter because the Ravens feel really good about their starting trio of Nate Wiggins, their first-round pick last year, of course, Marlon Humphrey, and also Chidobe Awuzie, who they signed this offseason after he was released by the Titans. But the kind of move that the Baltimore Ravens can make in June, that can sort of be like a finishing ingredient for a team that feels like it has the recipe to be a Super Bowl champion this year, Louis.
Yeah, it's just it's a really good fit. And where they've struggled in particular in 2024 was on the perimeter in the secondary. This is where they were really suspect. This is where teams attacked them. And the fact is, Jaire primarily is an outside lane player. Now what you can do with Marlon Humphrey is put him in the slot at the star, at the nickel position where he's most comfortable, where he's most deadly. You can keep Kyle Hamilton in the middle of the field with Malachi Starks. And now Jaire and Nate and Chidobe and anyone else who wants to go ahead and buy for playtime can buy for playtime on the outside. Now with Jaire, listen, this is a guy from a scheme fit perspective is very, very comfortable playing all the different coverage disciplines, cover 2, cover 4, all the split safety stuff, because he did that in Green Bay. He did that at a high level with lots of instinct, lots of ball vision, real quick closing quickness, real good ball skills. These are all the things that Zach Orr wants in their version of the split safety defenses that they run there in Baltimore. So look, there's a reason why Lamar said go out and get him. There's a reason why they were already talking to him anyway. It just made sense. Now Jaire just needs to stay on the field. He's only played 14 games over the past 2 years. He's had shoulder and knee issues. He's got to stay on the field. He stays on the field, he'll get everything he wants. Baltimore will get everything they want.
Yeah, so Laura, when we look at this in the aggregate of the first and second rounds of the NFL draft, the Ravens defense now has a new look to it, right? Malachi Starks, a player that the Ravens were incredibly enamored by during the pre-draft process. They were thrilled to land him where they did towards the end of the first round. And then the second round, they get Mike Green, who led the FBS in sacks last season, who was a ready-made pass rusher. And the Ravens ranked 29th in pass rush win rate last season. This is a team that just could not get home in the biggest moments. You go back to their 3 losses last season against Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes under center. This team has just 5 sacks. Jalen Hurts as well, 5 sacks in those 3 games against some of the best quarterbacks in the NFL.
You just love to see the Ravens, a team that obviously they've been vying for the Super Bowl. We felt like they were close these last few years. Just adding pieces at key spots, it can't hurt, right? The Ravens have signed free agent corner Jaire Alexander. Adam, what more can you tell us about this deal?
This was something the two sides have been talking about in recent days and weeks. Jaire Alexander had an extreme interest in reuniting with his former college teammate Lamar Jackson, so much so that he was willing to turn down more money from other teams to take a one-year deal worth up to $6 million with the Baltimore Ravens. And so he gets the deal done, wanted to keep it quiet until they got in the building and signed the deal, but he's a Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens have added yet again to a very deep and talented secondary.
And Lamar Jackson's happy. That's always a good thing. All right, new on NFL Live, Ravens coach John Harbaugh asked about the deal just moments ago.
Well, just really excited about it. I had a chance to sit down with him today, which was an awesome time, and he's excited to be here. We're excited to have him. He had been kind of behind the scenes in the works a little bit, and I know he wanted to be here, and we wanted him here. So for it to work out the way it did, it made Lamar happy. I think it made everybody happy. It's just an opportunity to become a better team in that sense today. So we're really excited about it.
Okay, if I had $1 for every time we're talking about this hump that the Ravens have to get over, I'd be really rich. But either way, we're going to talk about it again because, Lewis, have the Ravens done enough this season to finally get over that hump and find their way to the Super Bowl?
Yeah, I think they plugged all the holes. I mean, look, offensively, Zay Flowers coming back, healthy. I mean, that's going to be huge. D-Hop being added, that's going to be huge. They're loaded at running back. The offensive line is solid. They got an MVP quarterback. On the defensive side, think about it like this. I mean, Field was talking earlier about the fact that they weren't able to really register the kind of pass rush win rate that you wanted. I mean, they are loaded. They're 6 deep at outside linebacker. Yeah. 6 deep. They have 6 guys that any team would take right now as a prospective outside pass rusher. They draft Malachi Starks. And then they go and get Jaire Alexander to go with Nate Wiggins and move Marlon Humphrey inside. There really isn't anything else they can do. They've got the pieces now. We know this is largely mental with this football team. Once they get into the postseason, can they mentally lock in? It's not a personnel issue. It's not a personnel issue. This is a mental issue now.
Lewis, you know this too. When you're one of these teams that is in that upper tier, that basically got to get over that hump, or if you're like the Kansas City Chiefs in recent years, you're already at the top of the mountain. You take these calculated swings. The reality is over the course of time, they're not all going to work out. But on paper, pretty minimal risk, right? It's a one-year deal for Jaire Alexander, still in his 20s, should be motivated to get that big bite at the apple next March if he can cash in. Playing with his college teammate gives the team some depth at a position that you can never have too much depth. I'm not saying these kind of things are the ones that ultimately qualify a team as a Super Bowl contender or not. But minimal downside for the Baltimore Ravens, given that we know the financials involved, as Schefter reported earlier today.
You say limited downside. There's even upside because now if Jaire Alexander has the kind of year that you're talking about him having, Field, and he leaves in free agency.
They love Schefter.
The Baltimore Ravens get a compensatory draft pick. So they get Jaire Alexander this year and then set themselves up for more compensatory draft picks in the future. So there's no downside for the Baltimore. They make their quarterback happy. They bolster their secondary, and they set up their team for the future for $4 million.
Okay, I just want to quickly go back to something that we kind of referenced earlier in the show. We're talking about Jalen Ramsey and potential spots for him. I realize this is a little switch up. Sorry, everybody in the production room. But what could be a possible destination for him now that we've seen Jaire Alexander go to the Ravens? Is there a contender in mind that would make sense for Jalen Ramsey?
I think when you see teams do this, teams in the same division like to kind of keep up. It wouldn't surprise me the Pittsburgh Steelers then somehow made some calls about Jalen Ramsey, and they were one of the teams that were monitoring him. That would be an interesting little spot.
That makes a lot of sense.
They've had a dull off season, so it's about time the Steelers did something spicy, right?
Come on now.